Lynn Williams is a lifelong underdog who is now breaking her way into the main stage. From being lightly recruited in high school to winning 3 NWSL championships and being named league MVP, Lynn is the definition of perseverance personified. As a member of the U.S. Women's National Team, Lynn went from roster alternate to Olympic hero at this year's tournament in Tokyo, scoring a game-saving goal in the quarterfinals. A member of the North Carolina Courage and the U.S. Women's National Team, Lynn is also a fellow podcast host with me at Just Women's Sports. Lynn, welcome to the show.
Here's to all of you who have picked yourself up after failure, who put your heart and soul into hard work. You judge results by your own standards. The grind is where you find your edge, and through it all, finding success, especially success in the form of gold. WIS gets you and exists to help fellow go-getters just like you. WIS helps businesses win by outworking and adding more value than their competition in the tech and accounting space. That's the edge. WIS is good with numbers, epic with people.
Oh, thank you, Kelly.
Did
you write that yourself?
I didn't write that. No, I don't do it. But they do. The person who does write it does a very good job. And I always do love reading the intros because it's like just a little snippet of the person. And it's I don't know. It's just always so nice. And like a lot of times the guest is like smiling after reading and be like, whoa, I didn't know that sort of thing. So, but yeah, your intro is awesome. And I'm so excited to chat.
Sweet. I think it's like it is you smile because you're like you forget that all those things happened.
Totally.
You're like yeah.
I have done that. I am that person. Yeah, you are. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm tired.
Yeah,
I'm a little tired.
We just saw each other Wednesday night, so less than 48 hours ago.
Yep.
And because we played each other, thankfully. Sorry about having to win, but listen, you have points. No, I'm actually not. We had to do. That was a grind.
You hit me right in my diaphragm, and I said, "Ow!"
No. When did I do that? It was like
on a cross. It was like on a cross, and I was like, "Kelly, that hurt me." But okay.
You did foul me though too, and you're like, "No," and I was like, "You did though. You did, Lynn. You got me."
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
It's okay. It happens. A
diaphragm for an ankle. It's fine.
Yeah, that's. One for one. It's true. Well, I'm super pumped to talk to you today. Like your intro suggests, you have such an amazing story, and I'm excited for you to like tell it all, go through it all. Because it's funny, as I've gotten to know you, I've found out little pieces of this story that like I didn't know, and I like one of them, which we'll talk about later, which I was just very surprised about. But we're gonna start at the beginning where it all started. You grew up, you're born in Fresno, California. Yes. Your entire family is in California, which is like a hotbed for soccer. So where and when did you start playing soccer, and like how did you get into the sport?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was 5, like in elementary school. I think like everybody else. But my parents met at Fresno State running track. So my mom ran track, and then my dad played football, and to get out of spring football, he ran track.
Nice. Good job,
yes,
Dad.
Exactly. So that's where they met. And so I was doing soccer, but I was also running track at the same time. We were called bantams. So you like bantam, and then you become I think it's like a midget or something like that.
Okay. Wait, this was the soccer like progression?
No, this is
the track.
No, this is the track progression.
Okay,
so you're like a little tiny bantam. But I was
bantam,
5. My parents were like, "This girl has too much energy. Let's get her into anything and everything." And then when I was in first grade, I think I like went to another team where I met like a lot of my friends that I still have today.
Nice.
And then I think I continued to play soccer when I was little because I had my friends on the team, and I was like, I love doing this. Our dads were the coach. I had a lot of energy. My parents were like, get out of the house.
Yeah.
Go away from us.
So you did track and soccer. Did you do any other sports?
Did
you do any other sports?
Yeah. And in middle school, I played volleyball and basketball.
Okay.
My parents weren't ones to like make me pick a sport until I was like later on in high school. They were just like, do everything.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And did you think that you would end up doing something besides soccer, or was soccer the one that you loved from the beginning?
No, actually, so from the beginning, my friends and my parents basically forced me to go play volleyball and basketball. I didn't love those, but it was just like another thing to do.
Okay.
But track and soccer, I loved hanging out with my friends in soccer, but I was really good in track. When I was younger, I would go to like the Junior Olympics for track. I was a really good long jumper. And so I was like, I thought I was going to go to college and run track and do everything. But every time I would get to like the Junior Olympics, I got too nervous.
Really?
Yeah, I would get so nervous and then I would just tank. And my parents would be like, why are you doing that? And I was like, I don't know.
Wait, do you think it was because it was just you doing it?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
when I would run, I would get so nervous.
Yeah,
but when
that's so
I'm
funny.
Yeah, but when I'm playing, like obviously I get nervous when I'm playing, but I think I can turn to a teammate and they'd be like, you got this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm good.
That's so true. And it's a completely different setup of the sport, right? Like soccer's 90 minutes. You have 90 minutes to win. You have people around you. Whereas track, It's like you have one chance, and if you screw it up or you don't, or you like feel a little off, you miss your shot.
I know. Watching them run at the Olympics, like the poor people who like false start, I'm like, oh, it like breaks my heart.
I also didn't know that if you false start in a final, or I think I was either watching a semifinal or a final, and a guy false started on the 100-meter and he was disqualified. I thought that you got at least one false start.
No, so it used to be the first person who would false start, it would go to the field, but then the next person that would false start, you would be automatically disqualified. But that's not fair to everybody.
Yeah, true. It's like if you just Oh my gosh. Okay, so you would get super nervous running track. That's so. What was your event when you were a kid, or did you do, besides like you said long jump, and then in terms of the runs, like what'd you call them? The runs, the races?
So I did long jump, did really well in that, and then I would do like the 100, 200, 4x1, 4x4.
Nice.
Like basically anything from the 400 and down.
Okay. And yeah, your like parents were obviously super athletic, so you were bound to be super athletic as well.
My mom was the coach. We would butt heads.
Really? Wait, the track coach?
Yeah, or my track coach. So there's like school track, but then you can do basically like meets for not school,
like club,
like soccer
club track, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. But I ran unattached, so I wasn't a part of a club. So my mom was my coach, and I was like,
oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Unattached, fascinating.
I know, it's a whole track lingo world out there.
It is. Okay, well, this is the one thing that I found fascinating about you when I learned this about you after we had known each other for multiple years, was that your family moved to a pecan farm. And also, is it pecan? Is it pecan? Like, what is it? What do you say?
I say pecan.
Okay.
But I'm from the West Coast.
Okay. I know. I was like, I said it this morning when I was going over the script, and I was like, pecan, like
a pecan.
Yeah, a pecan pie. Like, oh my God. Well, anyway, so your family moved to a pecan farm when you were 8 years old. So can you tell us the backstory of that? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I can. It's kind of funny that we lived out there, but the story to get there is not funny at all. So I, my uncle, so my whole family, I have a very football family. Like 2 uncles went to the NFL. 1 uncle should have gone. My dad played football. He just decided he didn't want it. Blah, blah. Anyways, one of my uncles, Curtis Williams, played for the University of Washington. And in his senior year, he got in just a tragic head-to-head collision, like a football tackle, and ended up severing his spinal cord between like C1 and C2.
Oh my God.
And was paralyzed from the neck down. So he lived with my family. My dad's one of 8, and so he was kind of known as like the father figure of his siblings at the time, because my grandparents were dealing with other things. And so he lived with us, but the house that we had just didn't accommodate like wheelchair that big, and like we had to have nursing staff 24/7, all this stuff. So anyways, we moved out to this pecan farm. we didn't know what was going on. It was 10 acres of pecans. We ended up turning into basically like farmers. So we built this house on the land because we needed just more space. Sadly and tragically, he passed away like a year after his accident. So he didn't actually get to live there for long. But with that being said, then I grew up there and just huge tomboy, like had so many like motorcycles, golf carts, running around in
so
the mud.
fun.
Fun.
My favorite part is that I was like, because you knew, I think the way this got brought up is that you knew how things were like harvested, and it was like you like showed the picture of the tree shaker and like the net that goes under them.
Oh my God, it's so cool. Like I don't know why I thought that, I don't know, you would pick them hand by hand. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know why I would think that.
The least efficient way to harvest pecans.
Yeah, but they like just take this giant machine and they attach it to the trunk of the tree and they just violently shake the tree and all the leaves and the nuts fall into the ground and then you pick them up.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. They do that with olives too, which I guess they probably do that with most things that grow on trees, which would make sense.
That would make very much sense.
So you loved living on the pecan farm.
Yeah. It was like far away from my friends. It was like 30 minutes. So I went to Fresno Unified School District, but the farm was in Clovis, which is like 30 minutes away. But yeah, I loved it. Like I said, had so many dirt bikes that we would just race around, a golf cart. My dad like built us soccer goals so I can like go out there and basically had like a whole soccer field.
Yeah, you could do
it with just myself, but it's fine.
It sounds awesome. I love that. And I love that little fact about you. Well, so you didn't really like volleyball or basketball. You ran track. You didn't really love it because you got super nervous. You played soccer. And at what point did you feel like soccer was going to be the sport that you were going for? Because you absolutely, to read off some accolades, you like completely kicked ass in high school soccer. You were all league, all area honors for all 4 years. You set a high school record by scoring 117 goals and adding 47 assists, which to me is like mind blowing. I don't understand how you score 117 goals, and especially in like California, because California is a good sports state and good soccer state. So at what point were you like, okay, soccer is going to be it over track?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think that you have to know, like, yes, California is a big soccer state, but like that's only Northern California and Southern California. I think the Central Valley, where I'm from, like gets overlooked a lot. And so that was like my hardest thing, wanting to play soccer, but never being recruited or seen. I think there was like definitely like an internal battle that I would be fighting the whole time. I ran track and played soccer all the way up until my junior year. I did both of them at the same time. And every time first of all, I had this foot injury throughout the whole season, or both seasons.
Okay.
I had 3 foot surgeries in high school.
Oh my God.
I know, I'm a mess. So I would always get through the soccer season and then I would say, okay, I'll get the surgery and then I'll go run track. And I'm sure, as you know, like anytime you have a surgery or an injury, you don't like come back and bounce back just like that. So
totally. The
one thing that I didn't get nervous at in track was long jump. But because I was injured, like my jumps kept getting shorter and shorter. And then I was like, I'm not really having fun. I decided to take my senior season off of track. And after that, I was like, I didn't actually miss it at all. But every time I was out for whatever injury in soccer, like I just missed it so much. So when that would happen, I was like, okay, I think this is a sign that I should probably put more of my focus into soccer. And that's kind of how I decided, even though nobody seemed to want me on soccer and I was getting letters to run track, but I was just like, this isn't what I want.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that one, that's how you decided. Like it was complete intuition and like you just felt it and you knew where you were happier, which is really special and cool. Because I feel like that's a lot of times not the case for people. It's just kind of whatever ends up door opening for them. And to hear that you were getting recruited heavily in track, but not in soccer, but you're like, no, my heart is in soccer. That's special.
Yeah, I think that sometimes we forget that soccer is obviously a huge part of my life, but in the grand scheme of things, like I only go to soccer practice for a couple hours a day, and I only play in a game once a week. So if I'm not going to be happy in doing that for whatever I'm doing in the other 22 hours of the day, then it's probably not the thing for me. So with track, I'm like, do I really want to be running around this track miserable?
Running in circles around a track.
Yeah, and just having to like literally vomit after the trainings because you like run yourself to death. No, thank you.
I think, well, you chose right. But like you said, you weren't heavily recruited. So you obviously did super well in high school soccer. Were you in terms of club soccer, you just weren't getting seen? Do you feel like it was because, like you said, kind of location, geographically, like not going to the right tournaments or able to, like, what do you think it was?
A combination of everything. I think that geographically, Fresno is just not known for being a huge soccer hub. Like I said, I think that the Central Valley gets overlooked a lot. I also played for 3 different clubs growing up. And then the last one that I landed on was a 1-team U18 girls team. And so obviously club soccer works differently now than it did when we were growing up. But remember the Surf Cup?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? So to get to the Surf Cup, your team had to win however many games and be invited, all that stuff. So we never got to Surf Cup where the coaches would come to watch you. We would be at the same time at the Harvest Cup, which is like so
similar,
funny.
but not
but different.
Same
and
but
so
different.
And so like D2, D3 coaches would go to that one.
Okay.
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but I just knew in my heart, I was like, I'm good enough to play D1. And so we were just never at Surf Cup. And so I got lucky in the sense that San Bernardino saw me play at that Harvest Cup, and they referred me to Pepperdine. And then Pepperdine decided to take a road trip up to Fresno and watched me play in like one soccer practice. And it was on this teeny like little field, like it's called Duncan Middle School. It was like far away. The grass was like bumpy and thick. They watched me play one practice, and then I called them on their drive home, and they were like, "We would love for you to come down. We have an offer for you." And I was
That's
like,
incredible.
Cool.
Oh my God. That's incredible. Well, okay, because it is true. I do feel the way the system is set up, it really depends on like the club team you play on to get seen for college. You know, if you're not playing a good club team, you're gonna fall through the cracks. Like you're gonna get overlooked, and it's obvious that kind of happened with you in the sense that essentially your only offer came from Pepperdine, and it was because you got seen by another team or another coach and got referred, which thankfully you did. But also that Pepperdine came to and just saw one practice.
Well, yeah, I think so what happened was my coach was doing like all these little small drills, and they were like, "Can you just open the field up a bit?" And they opened it up, and I think they saw me like run one time, and they were like, "Oh, we need that."
They're like, "Okay, get in the car. Let's head home. We've seen what we need to see."
But you're so right. Like, I know people in Fresno who drive hours to go to their clubs.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I know.
There's so many people in Fresno.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. And I'm not like in tune with how things go these days. Me neither. But I assume it's similarly to how it was for us. And it was so much about like club and being seen in the tournaments and that sort of thing. But thankfully, Pepperdine comes, watch you play, coach opens up practice, and you get an offer. So did you go, like, were you, when they said, "Hey, want to come down, we want to make you an offer," were you like, Pepperdine's it, like I'm going to Pepperdine? Or how did that process work, and how did you actually end up there?
No, that didn't happen at all. So
okay.
So I called my mom and dad, told them, and initially they were like, "We're not going to do that. Pepperdine is $60,000 a year to go to. We can't afford that."
Holy shit. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, it's a private school. So they were like, "We can't afford that. Like, we're not going.
Yeah.
And so I think my mom was like, let's just go down. Let's check it out. It's not going to hurt. But while we're there, let's like go to San Luis Obispo where my sister went. Let's hit Santa Barbara, Pepperdine, and then we'll go to UCLA. And so we went to San Luis Obispo, was talking to their coach. They had a good feel for me, but I was like, I don't really want to go here. My sister goes here. I want to like do my own thing.
Spread my wings somewhere else.
Exactly. And then we went to Santa Barbara. That coach kind of just blew me off. They were like, who are you? Get out. I was like, cool.
Okay, I don't want to interrupt you, but I love like you telling this story. And now that Santa Barbara coach probably was just like, you know, years later, or even probably played you in college. You did well against them and was just like, man, really missed out. That probably happens to college coaches all the time, but still.
I'm sure it does, but maybe
still funny.
Yeah, it's still funny. But I guess they don't know any better. They probably get stuff like that all the time. Totally. They're like, who is this random kid?
Totally.
And so then I went to Pepperdine. They ended up offering me a full offer. And in that moment, I knew, I was like, oh, I'm going to go here because we had been touring the school. But I was trying to act cool. And he was like, take some time, think about it. And I think like on the way home, I called him and I was like, yes, I accept. But
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then we were supposed to go to UCLA, but then we just didn't end up going because I had already known. I was like, Mom, I'm coming here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's awesome. I love it. I love hearing people's journeys to whatever college they end up in because I find that whole recruiting thing fascinating. And like you said, you end up where I think you're ultimately supposed to be.
Yeah.
And you go to Pepperdine and you're moving from Fresno to Malibu, which is one, I mean, I don't know if I've ever been to Fresno, but like Malibu is pretty nice. Definitely been there.
If you went to Fresno, you'd be like, where am I?
So what was that like for you making that move and that kind of just like change in, I don't know.
Scenery?
Yeah, scenery. Probably lots of things.
Yeah. It was good. It wasn't like a culture shock. That's not the word. Mm-hmm. But it was definitely like different. I think it made me have a bigger appreciation for where I came from. For even though Fresno is like a huge town, it kind of has a small town feel. Because it is like a lot of farmers that live there, or I mean, it's California, so you're not poor everywhere in California. It's like expensive, but it's the Central Valley. Like it's not like
it's not Malibu. Like Malibu.
It's not Malibu.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And so I think that, like I would go to school and people would like have Lamborghinis, and I'd be like, where am I? Like, what is going on?
Oh my God.
So like I thought I had a nice car, and then I'd like look over there and I'm like, my car looks terrible. Like. But no, it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I think that Pepperdine, you don't get your like typical college experience. There's no football team. It's a very small school. But knowing me, that's like exactly what I needed. I have undiagnosed ADHD, self-diagnosed actually.
Do you? You don't strike me as that type of person. Like having that. You think you do?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You should see me when I'm at my house, like trying to do stuff. I'm
That's
like,
fair.
I gotta like start the laundry, and then I'll put like the load in, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta go do this, and then I do something else, and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't start that, and then it's just like it's a mess.
It's just tornado.
Exactly. But I think that like the small class sizes really helped me out, and like a very family oriented school. You kind of know everybody because it's so small. And then you have people that are like, you actually would like it a lot. You would you would probably surf in the morning and then come back.
I know. Yeah. I would have loved going to Pepperdine. It probably would have been bad for me because I would have probably been surfing more than I should have been. Sure. Well, when you show up there, obviously you said like not a culture shock, but definitely a change in scenery and just very different from Central Valley. But then also you're going from high school soccer, club soccer to college soccer. So for you, what was that jump like? Because you started every game as a freshman and were second on the team in points. Like you came in and did very, very well, especially for someone who wasn't highly recruited. Pepperdine was your only offer. but you go in and you establish yourself immediately. So what was that transition like, and how did you approach it?
Yeah, so I had a goal in mind going in that I wanted to play. And I think as a freshman, so the class that I was coming in with was like 10 people. And I was like, I want to be able to play when I get there.
That's a big class.
It's a huge class. Yeah. And I think we graduated like 9. So
Dang.
And one of the girls just went to a different sport. So I was like, what is going on? Huge class.
Yeah.
But so funny, I would obviously play a lot of soccer. I was still playing club soccer, but I decided to start going up to Yosemite a lot. And I just started hiking and being able to I think got my endurance up a bit.
Huh.
I know, crazy.
This was leading into college.
Leading into college.
Okay.
I had never gone to Yosemite, and it's like 30 minutes away from my house. I don't know what I was doing my whole life.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. So if you want to go, you can stay in Fresno.
Perfect. I might take you up on that.
But anyway, so one, I was just like trying to change my mentality from it sounds crazy now because in college you have subs, but
true.
It's less subs than you did in club.
Oh, that is also true. Yes.
So I was like, okay, I got to get way fitter.
Mm-hmm.
So I was training more, and then I think I just have always had this like underdog mentality, and this like people have always just overlooked me. So when I was going to Pepperdine, I was like, whatever, I have nothing to lose. These people have overlooked me forever. I'm just gonna go and do what I do.
Yeah.
And
that's
it worked
awesome.
out.
It did. You did incredibly. Your senior year, so you just keep scoring every year after that. In your senior year, you're a Herman Trophy finalist, college All-American, 3-time first team All-Conference player. You finished second all-time for points in program history, first all-time for game-winning goals scored with 15. Your total you have inked your name in the record books. Your total Pepperdine legend.
Cool.
Yeah, which is,
didn't know that, but cool.
It really is incredible, reading these statistics of your college career. So as senior year comes around, are you starting to think at what point are you thinking I want to go pro?
So I think after my freshman year, when I did well, starting, and I think I was freshman of the year, WC freshman of the year that year. I was like, oh, I can do this. I know I could do this. But there was no league at that time.
Okay, yes, because you were, what year did you start college? 2012?
2011.
2011.
Yeah.
Well, there was WPS, right?
Yeah,
then,
so the league had folded, and then there was that semi-pro team.
Yeah, so basically,
league, sorry.
Yeah. So one of the years of college, no league.
No league.
Yeah.
But after my freshman year, I didn't want to go home. So I did summer school and then played for the Pally Blues.
Oh, you did? I didn't know you played for the Pally Blues. Oh my God. I love finding things out about you. It's the best.
Yeah. And
awesome.
During that time, you guys were just preparing to go to the World Cup, I think it was?
I think it was, if it was summer 2011, it was World Cup. Summer 2012 was when there was no league and we were going to Olympics.
Yeah. So you were going to the World Cup. And the rosters were just starting to be named. This is sad. I don't know why I'm saying it. But Whitney Engen was on the team for the Pally Blues. And she had been away. And then she had come back because I think she didn't make it that final cut. But then we also had Abby Wambach's ex-wife. And anyways, there was a lot of
Pally Blues. Yeah, Pally Blues was always stacked.
It was stacked. And I was just this little freshman coming in being who are all these huge name people?
Yeah.
And then I think that year I had an amazing year with Pally Blues too. And Whitney Engen was if you keep doing this, you'll be on the national team. And the second she said that, I was just it reassured me that my feelings from my freshman year were correct.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can do this. But there is no league. So,
so how do I do this is the question.
So it was almost like a national team or bust, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so then I was I really want to put everything into my soccer, but I kept getting injured. So, so my soccer career at Pepperdine was such an up and down battle. And then I finally got my invite to go to the 23s, and we went to like La Manga, I think.
Oh yeah, Spain.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I ended up scoring a goal there, and I was like, I can do this. And so those are the moments where I was like, I know I can do this. I just keep getting overlooked.
When was the U23 call up? What year were you in college?
A junior.
Okay. So yeah, so basically, and at that point, league is now back.
Started.
Or
Yeah,
has
it's like
started, yeah. First
Yeah.
or second. So as you progress through college, you were like, I want to make the national team. I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's either national team or bust. League comes back around. So your mindset was just kind of like, do as well as I can, try to get called into youth teams. And then going into the draft, were you like, did you know where you were going to go? Were you?
Yeah. So I had, because I played for the Pally Blues, Charlie Namos was
Oh, yes.
the person drafting for Western New York. And I had been talking to Tim Ward, which was the Pepperdine coach. And I was like, I obviously want to apply for the draft or go into the draft. I want to play in this league. I don't really have a backup plan. So I am going to be playing soccer.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And so then Charlie called him and was like, we're going to draft her to New York. We have 4 first-round draft picks, and we have Sam Ewis, Abby Dahlkemper, Jaylene Hinkle, and you.
That was a stacked first round. Dang. Okay.
Yeah, unless somebody would. So I think we had picks 2, 3, 5, and 6. So unless somebody took us on 4,
Yeah.
he was like, we're planning on taking you to Western New York. And when I heard that, I was like, no, because I was going all the way to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you find out you're going to get drafted, which is exciting. But then you find out you're going to get drafted to Western New York, which for anyone listening knows, or maybe doesn't know, Western New York was what? It was train in Buffalo, play in Rochester, or vice versa?
Yeah. Train in Buffalo, drive an hour and a half to the games in Rochester.
And play in Rochester. No offense to Buffalo or Rochester. I know some great people. I actually know everybody I know that is from Buffalo and or Rochester. Great people.
Great people, terrible place.
Maybe not the most exciting place to be going from Malibu, California.
No.
Yeah, not at all. So
no, it was literally, I thought, this is how naive I am. I thought I was going to go to the city. Like, I was like, this has to be close to the city. And then I got there, and I was like, where am I?
Oh, my God, Lynn. That's like the typical California native response to geography of the East Coast. I'm going to Western New York. Yeah. I'm just 10 minutes outside of Manhattan. Like, that's what it's going to be. Oh, my God. So good. So, okay, so draft day, you get drafted.
Yeah.
Are you pumped?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Okay.
I think it was the first year they actually like did like a little bit of an actual draft day. They called your names. I had to go on stage. I was so nervous because I had to start thanking people. My mom was in the stage.
Had you planned? Like you knew you were going 6, so you didn't plan?
No, well, because they didn't tell us we were going up on stage until I saw. I think Sarah Killian was the first person who went up for us, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we have to say something."
She's saying words up there. Oh
I was like, "Ah!"
That's really funny. And that's 2015. And do you have to leave? Was Pepperdine on quarters or
semesters?
Okay, so did you finish school?
I did. So I was lucky to have been doing summer school for a lot of the time, which was also crazy because I switched majors halfway through.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you still graduated on time.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But so Pepperdine, because it's a private school, their summers are really long, but the school year is like very condensed. So I graduated in May, and the season started in April, I think.
Yeah.
I think at that time. So the end of my senior year was crazy. So I went to La Manga again, and then I went straight from there into preseason for a week, and then I came back to Pepperdine, and then they had 2 games. The first 2 games were on the West Coast, so it was Seattle and Portland. So I flew up to the Seattle game, came back, took a final, flew up to the Portland game, flew back, took another final, and then flew out to Western America.
Wow. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Dang.
It was wild.
Good for you for finishing but
you.
also being able to like playing games. It's pretty incredible that it worked out that way.
Yeah, it was a wild time. I don't think I did well, but I was like, I'm getting this degree.
You did it. That's all that matters, you know? Today, we're introducing you to one of the brains behind WIS, the CEO of WIS Private Client Advisors, Stephanie Hughes. Stephanie developed the WIS approach to wealth management by incorporating the lessons learned from both her professional and personal experiences. While spending over a decade working at some of the most renowned investment houses in the world, she discovered there was a greater need for a more holistic approach to planning and managing both sides of the balance sheet, especially for families with complex needs. She set out on a mission to bring the highest quality of unbiased expert advice to her clients, those being family-owned businesses, entrepreneurs, and corporate executives. In order to stay at the top of her game to help others, Stephanie remains balanced by making sure she stays extra focused on her priorities to optimize her time. She also jumpstarts her day with a 5-minute meditation and exercise, which I love. Stephanie, it is women like you who continue to inspire and be the change. Join us next week for more stories of female leaders like Stephanie in business, in sport, and beyond. Well, you go, so 2015, first season, rookie season, score 4 goals, which is pretty good for like rookie season. But 2016 is the year that you like smashed it or really broke out onto the scene. And like you said, you were playing with U23 youth team, youth national team. But then 2016, you score 11 goals, which was tied for the most in the league, but you win the Golden Boot award for having more assists, which is amazing. And you're also named NWSL MVP. So like 2016, it's your second season in the league and you win Golden Boot and MVP.
I know. It's wild. I don't think I'll ever have that big of a time. I don't think I'll have that big of a year ever again.
You can have another big year like that if you come to the Spirit. So what was that transition like for you from college to playing professionally? Like, the Western New York was pretty stacked back in the day. So many great players on that team. So what was that like for you? Yeah.
So the first year going from like college to the pros, I just think the speed of play is faster. The amount of time that people like when you're defending, the closing distance, how much time you have to do stuff on the ball. This league is a very like athletic league. But with that being said, like my first year, we were terrible. Like,
yeah, you guys were.
We were really, really bad. Like, and I think that everybody coming in was used to winning, and we were just like, "What is happening? This is terrible." We weren't having a good time. I don't know what it was, but it was almost like there was a whole like group of young people and then older people, and we didn't like mesh very well. Nobody wanted to be in Buffalo. No offense to the Salins, like they've done so much for the soccer community, but like we just didn't want to be there. It was just bad. And so also that year I ended up hurting my knee again and needing knee surgery. At that time I questioned if I wanted to continue to play because this was like my 8th surgery. And I was like,
can you talk about that a little bit? Tell people like the injuries that you've had to go through. Cause your body has been through a lot.
Yeah. So I had 3 foot surgeries in high school. I ended up breaking my growth plate. It's I can't remember what it's called, but the surgery where you break your pinky and they stick a thing in there, you know.
I don't know what it's called either, but
you listeners, you know. Anyways,
all you doctors out there, you know what we're talking about.
So anyways, they put a pin in there. I ended up hurting it again, breaking through the pin. They had to do it again and then again. And then went to college, had a meniscus tear. That was easy. So I was like, that'll be fine. Then I tore my labrum in my hip. They were told me I needed 6 weeks off to see if I needed surgery. But then 2 days later, I ended up shattering my elbow. So that was very traumatic. That doctor was like, you look like you've been in a car accident. So then that kind of started my 6 weeks for my hip injury. 6 weeks later, it didn't feel better. So then I had hip surgery. I was bedridden from that because I couldn't use the crutch because my elbow was so mangled.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was my junior year in college. And that was another time I was like, I don't think I can play this sport again, because I was like, I went to like a very deep depression. I was like, the one thing I usually can do to get all my anger out, I can't do anymore.
Yeah.
Anyways, I got through that. And then my senior year, I went to go head the ball, got headed in the face, ended up breaking my face.
I keep laughing. I should not laugh, but like.
No, I know. It's like crazy. So I ended up having face surgery to fix that bone. And then I go to Western New York and ended up basically hyperextending my knee, and then now I have a cartilage defect in that knee. But they were like, we can try this surgery. Ended up having like a meniscus repair on that as well. So that all being said,
you did this. Your rookie year was when you hyperextended your knee.
Yeah, we went to
and
Seattle.
You still scored four goals.
Yeah, so we went to Seattle. Remember how bad that field was in Seattle?
Yes.
So their like turf had like little loops in it, and my cleat got like caught in a loop, and I went to stop, and my knee just hyperextended on itself. So it took a bit to figure out what was actually wrong, but I was like, okay, I'll just play on it. If it can't get any worse, I'll just play on it, and then in the off season I will get surgery. But because I kept playing on it, I ended up like tearing my meniscus, but the part where you can like actually fix it.
Yes.
Which is like a longer recovery.
Yes.
And then we didn't make playoffs, so I was like, I'm leaving early. So I left the season early. But with that being said, like I was also in like this depressive state again, because you guys were just preparing to go to the Olympics in 2016. And like Sam had just got called up again, and Jay was called up, and I was like, I can't even vouch for myself because I'm in this huge knee brace. Why is my body continuing to like fail on me? So I went definitely through like a battle of that, like back and forth of like what is wrong with me. And then I think after maybe like a couple weeks, I snapped out of it, and I said, Lynn, you've done this before. You've gotten through these injuries before. You can do it again. So normally in the past, when I have had an injury, I always say like, well, this is God's way of telling me I need to take a break. So just relax. But this time, and I like eat whatever I want, do it, just like turn into kaput, like mush. So this time I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get in the gym. I was like doing that stupid hand bike like crazy. Ended up coming back way faster than I think they expected. And then 2016 comes around, and we have a whole new group of people that like we had no identity because we had such a terrible 2015. And I just was enjoying playing again. And I think when the group just starts to just love soccer again, I think that's what I had to go back to. Is I didn't play soccer in the first place to be on the national team. I played it because I just loved the sport. And so I went back to that mindset in 2016, and the rest is history.
It is. And that's like, that makes me so happy, because it is true. I feel like when, as athletes, and it's not always the case, but when we get back to actually enjoying playing, as opposed to worrying about like making the next team, winning the next game, like achieving the next goal, it's and stressing over it, that it I've never seen somebody not play well that way.
When you can just play free and like love what you're doing. It's totally. like a fun, like, I think that's probably what what do they call it? The zone,
like flow state.
Yeah,
totally. Well, you get into it because you, again, MVP, Golden Boot, and then you guys go on to win the NWSL championship.
I know. Talk about a wild ride.
Okay, yeah. So I actually, as I was going through this, I was like, I don't remember this game, but then in the script they put your goal so you scored, everybody. Lynn scored the game tying goal in the championship game in the 100th and like 24th minute. It was in overtime. You guys were down 2-1. You score, and to send the team to PKs. And I remember when I pulled it up, I was like, oh my God, I remember this game. I watched this game and was like,
What is
could
happening?
not believe that you guys won, to be completely honest, because
Me either.
yeah, to just talk about that game a little bit, it was insane.
Yeah, so we had no business being in the playoffs, let alone the championship game.
Yeah.
In 2016, we were just like a bunch of, I don't even know, random people playing soccer together. We were like, we're bad. Like we would do training and we like couldn't string 5 passes together. It was bad.
Oh my God.
And so we just would like lump it down the field and it ended up working. But I think to talk about that game, you have to talk about the game before, which we went to Portland and ended up beating Portland in overtime, I think 4-3.
Oh yeah, and this was on like you scored like 3 goals or 2 goals on throw-ins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we scored 3 goals on throw-ins.
3.
I ended up scoring 2 goals in overtime, I think, which was amazing. So we're exhausted. We had gone into overtime. Washington had gone into overtime in their game too. And it was just like Jess McDonald had this long throw that we kept surprising teams on.
Surprising. It's like, do your homework. Like I could not believe it kept happening. I was like, nobody's learning. No one is learning here.
I know. So we're playing Washington. Crystal Dunn scores the first goal. We go back, score the second goal. Sam Hughes scores. Then Crystal takes it, scores again. And I'm like, damn you, Crystal. And so I think everybody now, it works. Everybody now is in the box, like waiting for Jess to throw in the ball. Mm-hmm. And it's the 4th minute. They're screaming
124th. It was
124th.
Like
sorry, because we had overtime.
Yeah.
They're screaming that the time is running out, like the time is gone. Jay picks up the ball and throws it into Jess. And I'm like, what are you doing? We have this long throw in. But because everybody was not preparing for that, Jess takes it, Hail Marys it into the box.
Yep.
I haven't scored with my head this entire year. I'm like,
really?
This entire year. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I go up and I just stuck my little head out there and their goalie comes flying out. The poor thing, if she just stood on the line, the ball would have just
100%.
dribbled into her hands. So yeah, it goes in the goal. I'm in disbelief. My teammates are in disbelief. Sam, there's a picture of her with her hands on her head in natural Sam fashion.
The most classic Sam ever.
Yeah. And I can't believe it. And in that moment, I think I was like, we're winning this game.
Yeah.
The soccer gods are with us. We are winning this game. And then we went on to our goalie stopped a couple PKs. It's so funny. We joke about it now because the Euros were going on that same year. And you look at like our PKs and then the Euros PKs, and it was just like ours were so bad. But I was like, we won. Yeah. And so I'll take it.
Yeah, incredible. That was incredible. Well, that was your first of many NWSL championships.
Yes.
Your only one with New York Flash, which then you guys turned into the Courage.
Yeah, I'm gonna start a petition to put a 3rd star on our Courage jersey. Just saying.
Oh, from the Flash?
Yeah, I mean,
do you guys not have it?
No, we only have 2. I'm like,
oh wow, that's interesting that they didn't like carry it over. I mean, if Houston is putting a star on their jersey from College Cup, like, come on now.
The Challenge Cup, you mean? Not the College Cup.
No, did I say college?
Yeah.
I just said college. Oh my God. Challenge Cup, the COVID Cup. Well, so you smash it in 2016, and in 2016 it's your first full team call up.
Yeah.
So that happens post. When does that happen?
So we are in Houston. I have now been informed that I am the MVP. Shocked because of that, and then the next day I get a call that I'm going to camp, and I was like, what is happening? What is my life? Yeah. So I called my mom crying. Yeah.
Oh my God, that makes me so happy. So this is close to the end of the season, your first call up. It was like in the fall, right? Because it was 2016 was Olympics, we lost, and then went into that fall and had a bunch of camps.
So that game was October 9th, and then that camp was the end of October, which was an interesting camp to go in because you guys had just lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Jill was calling in a bunch of new people, and I think not calling in not a lot, but a handful of veterans. But it's your first call up, and you got told that you're the league MVP the day before, which is just like I mean, amazing. Yeah. What is life? But so cool. And so how did you feel? You obviously called your mom and cried, but how did you feel when you got to camp and you were like your first day there?
Yeah, I think it was nice being able to go in with so many new people. I think my first camp, there was 10 people. So it wasn't one of those times where I was like, I'm the only new one.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect. There was so many of us that were able to like lean on each other. So that was nice. But I was also still nervous. I think like I was sitting in the meal room and I think it was like Tobin, Press, Carly, like there was a group of you guys who had walked in the room and I was like, Lynn, act cool, be cool. Like, I'm like, I grew up watching these people play and like envying them. And so envying you guys. So I was like, don't do anything weird, act cool. I was also lucky enough to have Sam there and have obviously built that relationship with her. So yeah, it was such like an exciting time. I think I was like so much information, a whirlwind of a moment, because I was like, we're just here. Now I'm just over here. And all these people are congratulating me that I've looked up to. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. That's pretty cool to be able to walk into your first national team camp as league MVP.
Trust me, I know. I was
You're like, it helped a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And man. So I think I was able to go in like more confident than I probably would have if that didn't happen to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you score your first goal. You get your first cap, and you get your first national team goal in your first cap, right?
Yeah, it was like my first touch. I was like, what? Another one of those like, what is going on?
It's incredible. Do you want to tell us, just give the listeners what that was like? Because you explained that it was your first touch. Yeah, because it was kind of.
Well, first touches, I should say.
Yes, true.
So yeah, I go in at halftime. The score is 0-0. We're playing Switzerland, and I said to myself, I was like, Lynn, just go make an impact. Carly looked at me and was like, you're fine, just connect your first pass. The Switzerland center back tried to pass it back, but I just like pickpocketed her. And then I was on a breakaway.
Classic Lynn.
I was on a breakaway and I said, score. And so then I scored and I was like, wow, I guess connecting my first pass would be connected into the goal. Yes. So yeah, it was like such a, I don't even know, like thinking about it now, I like still don't have words. Yeah. That like just that whole time period, I don't think I had time to like really process anything because it was like
for sure
one amazing thing after another. And I was like, I'm just coming from this terrible year, the year before with where I almost quit, to this year. I guess this is a sign I shouldn't quit.
Yeah. So was that kind of like all those things happening? Was that like, all right, again, because you kind of talked about this before in that something would happen, you'd be like, I can do this. I am good enough. Like, do you obviously that year must have been solidifying that in your mind, like I'm good enough to be on this team and make it to be the very best, basically.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I think everybody would be lying to themselves if they didn't say there wasn't a moment where they had a down moment of I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if mine are more down than other people, but I had felt that way in the past of just like I in my heart feel like I could do this, but nobody's looking at me. My body's giving out on me, all these things. And so to have that year, it was another one of those reminders that I need to stop listening to everybody else. And if I truly believe this and I think I have the capability of doing this, then I can do it. And I think that year I just enjoyed playing, and I was just like, I just believed in myself.
Yeah. Makes sense. And that's sometimes all it comes down to is like, okay, I actually can do this. I am good enough. I should be here. Well, you get your first cap, your first goal on first touches, which is insane. But then so 2017, Flash are sold to new ownership. You go to the Courage. So upgrade from Buffalo to Cary, North Carolina, a little bit.
It was an upgrade. It wasn't as cold, so I take that as an upgrade. I just don't want to talk bad about the Salins because they, like I said, have done so much for the soccer, but I was happy to get out of there.
That's true. That's true.
I gotta go.
Fair. Yeah, exactly. Well, you scored 9 goals in 2017. You score 14 goals in 2018, win another NWSL championship with Courage. Scored 12 goals in 2019, win another NWSL championship with Courage. You officially created a dynasty within the NWSL. Through those years, you're playing with national team. You're playing in She Believes Cup, Tournament of Nations. So leading into 2019, how are you feeling about World Cup? Like, are you thinking, like, what are your what's your perspective heading into that year? Because obviously, like, national team goes on a cycle. The most important years are the World Cup, Olympic year. So heading into that one, you've established yourself. You've gotten your feet wet. You're part of the system. So what are you thinking heading into that year?
Yeah, so that's like it's such an interesting thing to think about because I think 2019 year, I actually was dropped from allocation. So,
really?
Yeah. So in 2018, at the end of the year, I wasn't like dressing for rosters anymore. So I saw that coming.
It's like it's the worst feeling, right?
Oh yeah, it's terrible. You get an email that's like, "Thank you for your service, bye."
Like, like, see you later.
Sick.
I've been there, just so you know. Like I've gotten that email before, so yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, it's funny because like you think you're the only one, and then you hear everybody's story, and you're like, everybody's career goes like this. It's the people who can like get out of that. But yeah, so I saw it coming. I got that email. I was in Australia visiting Marley at the time. And I like cried. I just cried. He was shooting and I was running sprints on the sideline. And I think that I have never ran faster in my life because I was just like emotionally running. And
totally.
And so he was like, you know what? Like, that's fine, but you take this moment to cry, let it out, and then you get back to work. And I think it was like the hard love that I needed. Because if I let myself sit in that, I was like, I had everything I ever wanted and I just let it slip through my fingers. But looking back now, like during that time, like obviously I was shattered. I was like, I thought I was on track to do something amazing. I know I could have been there, but it's one of those things that, you know, when you're like gripping onto something so tight that you watch it slip through your fingers. So I wasn't being myself anymore. I wasn't playing like myself. I was uptight and rigid and just so afraid to lose it that I lost it. So I saw it coming, but then when it actually happened, I was like, this is really shitty.
Still fucking sucked. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like devastating.
Yeah.
But then so I knew I wasn't going to be in camp anymore. You guys had started to do like your pre-camp stuff. You go on to watch win the World Cup, and I made it a point to watch every single World Cup game. I was like, you know what, it's not it was like terrible. I was having a very hard time, but
it's not an enjoyable experience.
But I was like, it wasn't my friend's fault that I'm not there anymore. I need to support them. I'm so incredibly happy for them. But at the same time, like, I'm not there and this team needs me in North Carolina. And if I don't perform here, I won't ever get a chance to go back. And so I tried to take like a terrible moment in my career and turn it into a positive. And then you guys win the World Cup, and then I got called back in again. And I was like, well, Lynn, you couldn't have done that a little bit sooner?
Could you just have done... Oh my God. One, I love you. You're an amazing human and such a good teammate and friend. And the fact that you had that perspective and still were like, I know that you were a good friend and teammate too. All the people on the Courage who did go to the World Cup, like the fact that you watched the games and did support people like that speaks volumes to the person that you are, and that is who you are. So I'm glad that you said that, because I like that the listeners got to hear that. Yeah, and because that would be a very hard thing to go through, and I can't imagine doing it. And there's no other way to put it, but it's shitty. But like you said, you did 2019, you scored 12 goals. Like, you were there you showed up big for your club team, and then you get called back in. So when you got called back in under Vlatko, were you like, all right, how did you approach that? Like, was it kind of like, okay, this was like one chapter of my national team career, I'm going to start a new one?
Yeah, kind of. Because I feel like a lot of my issue was, so first of all, like, growing up, I feel like because people said I was fast, like I missed out on like a lot of development with just foot skills, I felt. Because people be like, she's fast, just kick it. And I didn't like develop that part. So when we would go into national team camps, it would be like January, February, before I'm like in the thick of season and like really have my touchdown. And I feel like those are key moments or key time periods, because those are like the longest camps for coaches to see you, or the national team coach to see you. And I was like, I'm still getting my feet under me. And so during that time, I said, okay, I don't know what's happening with the coach at that time. And I was like, I need to change something. And the only other league that runs at different times at the time was Australia. So I made a point. I was like, okay, after this season, I'm going to go play in Australia. Marley's there, so it's great. I'll kill two birds with one stone.
And just so everybody knows, Marley is Lynn's boyfriend.
He's my lover boy.
Just he's her man friend. Her lover boy. Okay.
So I decided to go over there. I was playing, having a good time, and then I got called in, and I was like, crap, I need to cancel this, like, end this contract, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But I think that really helped me to be able to go into January camp and actually like perform and show what I could do. But yeah, I definitely was like, okay, new coach. I have a new slate, but at the same time, like, I knew he had been in the league. He's seen what I could do in the league. And then when I had a good conversation with him when I first came in, he was like, this one game, I hope you go and do amazing things, but it's not going to make or break you. I've seen 100 games of yours before. I know what you can do.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good perspective. That's a good way to look at it, Vlatko.
Thank you, Vlatko.
Yeah. Obviously, like you said, you come in under Vlatko. He's like, I know you as a player. He gives you that confidence. You also prepare differently for like the year ahead, going into January camp, which everyone should know. It's very important for kind of like setting the tone for the year, even though it's kind of silly because we're coming off our off season. So you go in and you make qualifying tournament, and but then obviously COVID hit. So we go through the COVID situation. We get back with the national team in the fall. And how did you feel leading in? And like, you did really, really well under Vlatko. Like, you were starting, you're scoring, you're assisting. How did you feel? Like, do you feel like COVID was good for you, was bad for you? Like, how'd you feel going into 2021 essentially? Because like that was now the Olympic year.
Honestly, not great. I felt like going from off of qualifiers in 2020 and She Believes, I was like, I'm in a good spot. I'm going to go into season. I'm going to crush it. I feel good. Yeah. COVID hits. Where is anybody supposed to play? What are we supposed to do? And then it kind of felt back like I was going back into those January camps again. But then also people were hurt. I was starting a lot. I started to like mentally like doubt myself. And I started being like, I'm only getting these opportunities because these other people aren't here. And not just saying like, I deserve this. I've earned this. And so I saw myself doing the same pattern that I was doing in the World Cup in 2019. And so anyways, I decided to go out and get a sports psychologist because I was like, Lynn, you're doing the same pattern. You're self-sabotaging again. And thank goodness I did, because we had like one more camp before 2020, the roster was coming out. And at that time, other people had been performing a bit better than me in the league. I had also not lived up to the expectations going into those times. And so I think somebody like started in the forward position who was a defender, and I was like, well, crap, like I've missed out again. And then the next game, somebody else started above me again, and I only went in the last 10 minutes. And the whole time,
but you scored. I think you scored, right?
I did score, yeah. And so the whole time, thank goodness I had the sports psych, because she was saying before that game, she goes, you don't need that much time to make an impact. And so, you know, halftime comes and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go in at half. The 60th minute comes and you're like, maybe I'll go in at 75. The 75 minute comes and I'm like starting to like get down. And then finally in my head, I was like, you know what, Lynn, you don't need that much time to make an impact. So I go in at like the 80th minute, end up scoring. And I was like, I think I did everything I needed to do to just prove that like I didn't get that much time, but all the things I could do, I did them in those 10 minutes. Yeah. And then obviously 2021 comes around. So I didn't really feel that prepared. Like COVID sucked. I was like, why? Yeah. Why did this happen to me?
No, it makes sense. And that's why I asked, because, and I'm really glad that you brought up working with the sports psych, because you had mentioned that I had talked to you about that, and you had mentioned to me, and I was like, wow, that's like, I'm really proud of you for doing that, and was super smart. And I did see a change as a teammate of yours in your game, and kind of just like, I've always thought you have a great mentality and like are a great teammate, but the way that you approach just the circumstances and the situation, I thought was really, really professional, and also you made the most of what you had been given in that moment, you know.
Thank you.
Which I thought was which I thought was great. And no, because like a lot of people can just kind of be like, well, shit, like this, there's nothing I can do. Whereas you were like, no, I'm gonna try to change something. I'm repeating the same patterns. I'm gonna go and work with the sports psychologist, and it clearly helped, because end up Vlatko names the roster. You're named as an alternate, which like being named. So this is another question. Originally named as an alternate, right? But then obviously the change comes down a couple weeks later that all 22 players can be rostered at any point during the tournament. If you're rostered, you become an Olympian. So talk through that a little bit, and getting the call as an alternate, and then ultimately having the ability to find out that you have the chance to become an Olympian.
Yeah, so I was named an alternate, obviously was not looking for that news, but considering that I didn't think I was going to even make it because I was self-sabotaging again, I was like, I really was. I was like, okay, this is fine. Like this isn't exactly what I want, but, and I think like as we're professionals, like I was counting the numbers and I was like, it's going to be me or Christy. Like, and there's no way that they're not going to take another midfielder. So like I already saw these things coming. But again,
it sucks being in that spot. Like you literally, we show up for practice and people are literally every practice. I've done it before. You're counting who's filling the spots of the 18 players. It's wild. Sorry. Continue.
No, of course.
Been there, done that. And it's
you're just like crap. It's like these. So
it hasn't changed from yesterday. Like, why has it not changed? Yeah.
No, I know. It's like one of those when you like go into the fridge and you're like, you look and you're like, crap.
Still,
you come back later.
Exactly.
But so Vlatko calls me, and not the news I wanted, but still super grateful to get the opportunity to even go train with the delegation. In my head, I'm like, as long as I'm continuing to learn and be a part of the group, it's a win for me. I'm also in my head like, you know what? I'm just going to be prepared if and when they need me. If my name is called, like I have to be in the right mind space. And I also have to help my teammates prepare. So then we get news that the roster might be opening up a bit. Other people start congratulating me. I'm like, the news hasn't really broke yet. It's not official.
It was so weird. Yeah.
It's not official yet. Then they're like, it is official, but you have to make a roster. So I'm like, but I haven't made the roster yet. I'm still. So in my head, the mentality didn't necessarily change, because going into it already, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be the best Lynn I can be, because then it's going to make Becky the best Becky she can be, or it's going to make you the best Kelly you can be, because then if we see this on the field, then we'll be able to do it. And so I just tried to like really take my role and said, whatever role I'm given, I'm going to like do that to the best of my abilities. Because I think that what people don't realize is that you're on a team with the national team, but until that roster is named, like you're fighting basically everybody. So you're like teammates, but you're also competing against each other.
100%.
And then I think right as the roster is named, like you just have to switch. Like you have to accept whatever role you're given, because it's bigger than you in those moments. Before you're like, I got to do this. I got to win. I got to be on the team. And then that second that roster's named, it's like, this isn't about you anymore. It's about whatever we can do to get this gold medal. And so at that time, it obviously wasn't a position. I didn't want to be the alternate, but that was what was going to make everybody hopefully win the gold, obviously at the time. And so when the roster was opening up, I thought maybe I would make a roster so we can be considered an Olympian. But my goal the whole time was I'm going to scream my head off and hopefully lose my voice every single game. And I was honestly proud of myself of like how I handled that situation, because I don't think you could say this too, but I don't think it was like the Olympics of people's dreams.
No, definitely not. For many reasons.
For many reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like that was like a strange situation for everyone, not just myself.
For sure. But you handled it incredibly. You prepared exactly the way you should. You end up starting in the quarterfinals against Netherlands in front of me, and I was pumped when I found that out, because I was like, let's fucking go. Sorry, I keep saying the F word. I like never say the F word when I'm recording. And you come in, you start this game, because did you go in at all before then? Did you?
Yes. So remember, I hurt my quad.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking.
And yeah, so I hurt my quad, and come to find out, I guess I would have rostered before if I didn't hurt.
Yeah.
But then I get into the Australia game,
okay,
which
that's
is like
right.
a snooze fest. So I go in the last like 10 minutes of Australia, and I'm like, crap, like so grateful I'm now an Olympian. All I did was walk around the field.
Yeah, we literally walk. Like
it was like a lot of emotions where I was like, what is going on? And then he tells me I'm starting in the meeting. Do you remember like in the meeting before?
Did he not tell you?
No, Kelly, if I didn't have a mask on my face, you would have been like, I was like, what? Are you sure? Me? Lynn?
Did somebody type that right? Like, did somebody double check?
Yeah, I had to say to myself, I said, Lynn, focus of what the tactics are. Because I was like, wait, what? Me?
Oh my God, that's so good. I didn't know that. Oh, that's funny. But you smashed it. You come in, you score, you assisted, scored, both, right?
Both.
Yeah. Insane.
So I assisted Sam.
Yeah.
I assisted Sam. She got her big old noggin on there. And then the ball fell to me, and I shot it right in there.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So like such an incredible, I mean, I was so happy for you, and it was so well deserved, and you did so well for the team, you know, like just being able to play that role, which was such a critical role for that game, and to even get us beyond. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, how did your first Olympic experience, what would you say about it? I guess that's a pretty loaded question.
That is a loaded question. It's okay. I do want to say, I know you are the host, and it's we're not necessarily talking about you, but I think that you helped me a lot, like on the field. Aww. Obviously, we are on the same side, and defensively,
I'm just barking at you the whole time.
Well, you're barking, but I think it's like fine, and I respond to that pretty well.
So well.
And I think it's so informative. I'm like, all right, if Kelly wants me 3 steps to the left, she will let me know, and I don't have to worry about it. I will just get myself 3 steps to the left.
Yeah.
But I think it was like super helpful on the field, especially for my first Olympics. I think the fan situation, not having fans, I don't know if that helped or not, to be honest. It was just because it was a COVID Olympics. I think it was such a strange time. Not being able to like go outside and sitting in our rooms a lot. Then we weren't performing as well as we wanted to. So yeah, loaded question. I think that there was a lot to be learned from this Olympics. I felt that the way we came back in the bronze medal match was amazing. To respond like that, obviously it was like a close game, but the beauty of a bronze medal match, if you win, is that you are ending on a win versus Sweden, who is ending on a loss.
Yeah.
And so I think that's awesome that we got to like end with this, like, we won. It wasn't the win we wanted, but we won. And I just think that we could learn a lot. We like could take a lot from that experience. I felt that I'm just like so honored and blessed to be around so many incredible, talented people. And because of like the cadence of the games, to watch like the professionalism within the team, and how people take care of themselves, that was eye-opening as well. So overall, I don't think it was negative. Just learning.
Totally. Yeah. Just an interesting time, if you will.
An interesting time, if you will. I would say the last 2 days were really fun.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. All right. I've taken up a lot of your time tonight. So we're going to go to the repeat questions.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
All right. If I wasn't playing soccer, I would be.
I would be playing tennis.
Really?
I think I would be good at tennis. I'm just going to throw it out there. If maybe I was started younger, I could be a prodigy. I don't know. Maybe.
I love that. We should play. Do you play tennis now? Do you like it?
My wing is broken.
Oh, your poor wing. Okay, no tennis. I was going to say we should play sometime.
I mean, I'm in. I don't.
But you're like you don't play tennis on the regular.
No, where am I going to play tennis in North Carolina?
Know. I just thought maybe you were. I don't know. There's definitely courts in North Carolina.
I've been taking up golf. I've been smashing the golf ball. Let me tell you.
That is fantastic news. I also am taking up golf, so we should go smash golf balls together because I can now actually make contact with the ball, which is very exciting.
Okay, maybe you could teach me a couple things.
I can. I got some pointers. Okay. All right. How do you take your coffee?
Ooh, always a latte, oat milk latte.
Oh, always.
Yeah, well, my stomach don't do well with any other milk.
With the old cow's milk?
With the old cow. And I have moved away from vanilla because I am now a coffee connoisseur and I can like take it without sweetener. I know. I'm an adult.
You
I know.
are. Wow, look at you. You're all grown up. I'm so proud. Okay. Who's the one person in your life that has had the biggest impact on your career?
Do I have to have one?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to not go by that rule. I love it. And just say, honestly, like, my circle of people is my mom, my dad, my sister, and Marley. And if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be able to get anywhere.
That makes sense. I assumed those were going to be your people, and that's why I wanted you to have to name one, and I knew you wouldn't. That's great. Okay. They say work hard, get lucky. How much of your success is predicated on luck?
Ooh. 60% maybe?
Wow, 60 luck, 40 hard work? Or 40 luck, 60 hard work? No, you're going to say 60 luck.
I'm just trying to think of like being recruited from
no, you can. This is great.
Yeah, like being recruited from like Fresno, whole bunch of luck. Like San Bernardino referring me to Pepperdine, luck.
100%.
Getting a new coach after Western New York, luck. Like I just think maybe it's not 60.
No, let's go with 60. I think that's the biggest percentage we've got, and I love it.
Yeah, we're gonna say 60. I think it's been a lot of luck. It's been a lot of hard work.
100%. A lot of hard work.
Jill leaving, Vladka coming in. I don't know how much luck it is, but it seemed like luck in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, 60 luck, 40 hard work. I love that. All right, last question, Lynn Williams. You've accomplished so much already. Where do you want to go next, and how do you keep pushing?
Ooh. Well, I want to go to the World Cup. I want to go to the Olympics and actually get on the roster and win a gold medal and not a rose gold one.
Hell yeah.
And how I keep pushing is to continue to keep the people in my circle. They know what my goals are, and they're not going to let me stop for anything. And also just realizing that soccer is not going to last forever. So if I don't go for it now, then I will look back in my life and say, what the heck, Lynn, why didn't you go for it? So, so that's, yeah, just staying grounded, I think.
I love it. This has been such a pleasure. I've loved being teammates with you on the national team. I've loved seeing you grow and thrive and shine. And I'm excited to see all the things that you still have to accomplish and will accomplish.
Kellyanne. So. Thank you. I've enjoyed being your teammate too, honestly. I really have.
Been fun. It's been fun. And I'm very proud of you. So thank you for the time. And I'll see you in like 3 days.
I'll see you in 3 days.
Perfect.
To succeed, you can't do it alone. You need a team that understands you and your business on a personal level. And WIS takes that approach to help you win. Think less calculators, more conversations. WIS is a proud supporter of this podcast and the JWS community. To discover how WIS is more than just an accounting firm, visit wis.com/JWS. That's WISS.com/JWS.